This is everything I've watched and read in December. Let's start with movies. X, directed by Ty West. For some reason, I didn't see this when it came out. And then I also missed Pearl because I hadn't seen this. I'm excited to catch up on the series because this was a very interesting, well-made horror movie. I love the themes of religion and sexuality and the backdrop of 1970s Texas. They paid homage to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in redone shots and the look of the setting. I wish Kid Cudi did more acting because he was great in this. Miyazaki also had a great performance, along with Jenna Ortega. I love horror movies and hadn't seen one in a while, and this was exactly what I needed. 6 out of 10. How to Blow Up a Pipeline, directed by Daniel Goldhaber. This was a really unique concept for a movie. In the movie's genre and structure, it borrows a lot from heist films and thrillers. I like how this movie withheld information from the audience, focusing more on what the characters are doing before we learn what is driving them and who they are. The performances were all solid, the tension was well executed, and I think the movie has a timely, poignant message. 8 out of 10. Pearl, directed by Ty West. After seeing X, I had to see the next in the series, Pearl, which in my opinion was even better. Firstly, this was a stylistic step up from X. The cinematography was nice, and I liked how brightly the colors popped. The acting was also a step up from the acting in X. Miyazaki was great as Pearl, but I also loved Tandy Wright as Pearl's mother and Emma Jenkins as her sister-in-law. Last month, I talked about Mike Leigh's long takes in Secrets and Lies. Long takes that were static, focusing on a long, uncut piece of acting. And there was a similar monologue in Pearl that shows Miyazaki's acting abilities and her and Ty West's abilities as screenwriters. 7 out of 10. Dream Scenario, directed by Kristoffer Borgli. This was a great idea for a movie. I love when a movie lives up to the potential of its concept. First, I'll talk about the cinematography. Although this movie is much different in plot and tone, the movie's look reminded me of another Nicolas Cage movie, 2018's Mandy, particularly in the amount of grain in the image. Seeing this in theaters was a great decision because the colors were nice and the slightly vintage look was visually pleasing on the big screen. This may be my favorite Nicolas Cage performance, besides Mandy, because it's just so crazy. Similarly to how Oppenheimer stuck with me, the thematic implications with this movie have been rattling around in my mind ever since I saw it. 8 out of 10. The Boy and the Heron, directed by Hayao Miyazaki. This is the first everything I watched in a month where I'm actually watching new movies. That's exciting. Miyazaki has become one of my all-time favorite filmmakers, and I love almost all of his movies. I don't think favorites hold a lot of stock, and my favorites of anything constantly change, but Princess Mononoke is often what I call my favorite film. I made a video about Miyazaki, which you should go check out. Like all of his films, The Boy and the Heron will sit with me for a long time. My interpretation of the film is still forming, but it was a great movie. The animation was obviously incredible, and the movie made me feel a lot of things, which is all you can really ask for. I can't wait to rewatch it. 9 out of 10. The Nice Guys, directed by Shane Black. With the popularity of the Barbie movie, we're all being shown how great of a comedic actor Ryan Gosling is. However, his performance in The Nice Guys is just as good. His character, like all other characters in this movie, has a witty outer layer with a complex and broken person beneath. Russell Crowe is great in this movie too, in a role that feels so unique for him. Great movie, I'm glad I rewatched it, and it made me laugh a lot. 8 out of 10. You've Got Mail, directed by Nora Ephron. Did you guys know Dave Chappelle's in this movie? This and When Harry Met Sally are movies that make me want to go to New York City. Nora Ephron's writing is fantastic, writing a subtle comedy that is very character-centered. In this movie, it didn't ever feel like comedy was being forced into the film, and the story and characters were the main focus. I enjoyed the performances of Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, and this is the only Christmas movie I watched, unless you count The Nice Guys. 8 out of 10. In terms of what I read this month, I started with Wayward, written by Blake Crouch. This is the second book in the Wayward Pine series, and I think it's even better than the first. The introduction of the romantic interest to the protagonist added a whole new point of view to the book. I thought the concept was developed well, expanding the world in new ways, but to be honest, it's hard to talk about this without spoiling the series, so I'll just leave it at that. 8 out of 10. How to Change Your Mind, written by Michael Pollan. This is my third Michael Pollan book, having listened to the book Caffeine and read the book Food Rules, both of which are great. In How to Change Your Mind, Michael Pollan explores the world of psychedelics, mainly focusing on psilocybin, or magic mushrooms, and LSD. Pollan's writing is great because it feels like a mix of historical deep dive, scientific study, and personal account, all surrounding a single subject. His retelling of his experiences contextualizes the science and history of the book and makes the book much easier than many other nonfiction reads. If you're curious about hallucinogens, I think How to Change Your Mind is a great starting point. 9 out of 10. Kitchen Confidential, written by Anthony Bourdain. While not in the kitchen, I have many years of experience working in the food service industry, so I wasn't completely familiar with the ins and outs of the life of a cook, but I did have some idea about the restaurant industry. However, Bourdain's chaotic and debaucherous world of restaurants in this book felt quite familiar to me. Bourdain is such a good storyteller, and how he structures these stories in the book is fantastic. He never spends too much time focusing on the technical aspects of restaurant work without illustrating his points through anecdote. His voice is so fully formed and idiosyncratic, making this text feel one of a kind. 9 out of 10. Jujutsu Kaisen, written by Gege Akutami. I can't stop reading this comic. It's become an issue. I should have never gotten myself a Shonen Jump account. Things will be better once I'm fully caught up, but the bad news is there are 244 chapters, and I've been reading a lot and I'm only on chapter 130. I liked it a lot, but I'm not giving it a score. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, written by Mark Manson. Self-help books are really fun. I don't think I'm the best at applying everything said in these books into my life, but I enjoy listening to them. Mark Manson does a great job of taking a title and concept that for other writers may have run dry quickly and turning it into a wide-ranging and cohesive book. And there are definitely some ideas from this book that I will be taking with me. 7 out of 10. So that's everything I watched and read in December. If you guys want to let me know what stuff you've been enjoying this month, I'd love to hear it in the comments. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. Appreciate all the support this year, and there are a lot of bigger and better projects coming in the new year. Thanks for watching.